Hi, I'm Dan, and I've had a dream of sailing around the world for the better part of 30 years now. In this second series of videos, I'll be finishing renovating my sailboat and sailing Lake Ontario as I modify equipment, replace equipment, add equipment, so the boat will be ready to do actual ocean passages in just a couple of years. That'll be the third series of actually doing the circumnavigation. But in this series, I hope you join me as I visit different ports of call around Lake Ontario and even perhaps different areas of the Great Lakes. First, a little history. As a college student, I recall being captivated by the America's Cup. The graceful lines, the tactics of racing, the technology. It was the perfect blend of art and science. Over the years, I bought a sequence of small sailboats. Sailed with friends, crewed for local racers, and took training classes through the American Sailing Association. Then, about 6 years ago, I bought the boat that would take me offshore and around the world. The boat I chose is a Reliance 44, built in Montreal, Canada in 1975. The Reliance has classic blue water lines, a heavy displacement, full keel, and a catch rig. All features that help make this a safe and comfortable passage maker. I knew the boat would require work when I bought it, but soon decided to completely gut the interior in addition to tackling other major projects. You can see the 6-year journey to completion, or near completion anyway, by clicking here. There's still work to do to complete the interior, and I'll include the progress on that going forward. But this is the year we actually start sailing. But like I said, I'm not actually sailing around the world just yet. This is a new series of videos where I'm sailing Lake Ontario, making modifications to my boat and making sure that it's fully ready to circumnavigate, which will probably take a couple of years to complete. So currently, we wait for winter to finally concede to spring and allow us to slip the lines and ride the currents of the Genesee River to Lake Ontario and beyond. But I haven't been idle this past winter. In fact, I've been hard at work on a number of projects. So let's get caught up on some of that work. I've been struggling with charger issues for the 2 custom lithium-ion batteries that power the new electric motor. I had to remove the batteries from the boat to help diagnose the problem, and now that a new charger is on the way, I can think about reinstalling the batteries. Speaking of batteries, I ditched the 4 6-volt golf cart batteries, and I'm down to 1 12-volt battery for the house bank. I'll eventually have a large capacity lithium-ion bank for the house loads, but I can get by with just 1 lead-acid battery for small day trips if I'm miserly with the power consumption. I mounted a solar panel that will help some when I'm away from the dock. I'll also have more solar and a wind generator in the near future, which will reduce the boat's reliance on shore power. The shrouds have all been properly tensioned using a method outlined in a manual by the mast maker Selden. It was surprisingly simple, but the process really drives home the tremendous forces involved. I sure hope my chain plate calculations were right. At the end of the season last year, there was damage to the rudder. I think it came from a lifting strap that was placed in the wrong spot. So I removed the rudder and lopped off about 6 inches off the bottom, sealed it up, and then lifted the rudder back into position. I also created a NEMA 2000 communications network on the boat, and then I added a new depth, boat speed, and temperature sensor that feeds into that network, as well as hooking up my wind speed and direction sensor. All this data feeds into my new Raymarine chart plotter, which is located in a nav pod housing secured to the binnacle guardrail. I chose this arrangement because it provided the best view of the instruments at the helm. I also wired up the VHF radio, which has a new antenna at the top of the mast. As far as creature comforts, the head is now complete with the installation of a composting toilet. I wasn't looking forward to cutting another hole in the deck for a vent, but the manufacturer says that in most cases a vent isn't necessary. We'll see how things play out with more regular use, but so far there's zero odor, even with the boat closed up. There are all new cushions throughout, with some of the seat backs undergoing slight reductions because they interfered with the cabinets. The propane system has been updated with all new plumbing and a remote solenoid shutoff. A new stove has been installed, along with the reinstallation of the original propane heater. The new fridge is ready to go back into position once the batteries are reinstalled and the jigsaw pieces of the floor are back in place. There's still a long list of things to do, but the rear quarter berths should be done in the next 2 months or so. I'm also getting a new bimini fairly soon, followed by new sail covers later this year. As I mentioned, more solar and a wind generator, and an automatic identification system, or AIS, which transmits and receives vessel speed and position to avoid collisions. Oh, and I still need to hook up the water heater. Gotta have hot water. Lots of other stuff too, but we'll get to that in due time. Right now I'm focused on actually going sailing. Can't wait.